All right, this is a quick tip going over one of the latest releases in version 3.3. It really affects the way our visualizations work in Augmented. So we'll jump right into this. In the release notes, you can see this feature, Lumens for Augmented. It shows the default is 10,000 lumens, and what you may have seen when working with different fixtures is the relative intensity on stage doesn't reflect what things are in real life. First, quick disclaimer, Augmented is designed to be a programming tool to assist with programming and when operating a show, as opposed to just strictly a visualizer, but it does have these tools, and it is helpful because on my stage, for example, my conventional source 4s have the same relative, or they seem to be as bright as some of our brighter moving head fixtures, and that isn't the case in reality. And so this ability to tune the lumens helps significantly. So we're going to compare a source 4 here, and in my venue I've got typically HPL 575s at 115 volts, and I run the X for the extended life. So the lumens there is 12,000, which is just above the default setting. But then we hop over here to something like a Halcyon Platinum, and we're exceeding 54,000. And so let's show you what that looks like. Here we are in a clean blank show file here. And you can see this is based off of 330 build 549. And so I'll start off by going here into Patch. In fact, let me just clear this out really quick. It is a new show file, but let's reset all of these workspaces. Great. And then we'll go into Patch here, and I'm going to patch channels 1 and 2 at 1. And by default, that will grab just a standard dimmer. And we'll go ahead and set our lumens here at 12,360, which is what we got there from the data sheet. And then positionally, I'm just going to throw these up in the air. We'll spread them out on the X. I'm going to move it back just a little bit here on the Y. And we're going to set a trim height of 35 feet. And then I'm also going to grab fixtures 3 and 4. And we're going to go ahead and find our fixture here, high-end platinum, ultra bright, actually standard fidelity. There we are. And we're going to address those at starting in universe 2, and then in augmented again, negative 10 through 10 with a Y position of 0. Oops, did not enter there. And then again, trim height of 35 feet. And then here we're going to set, well, actually we're going to leave that at the default for right now, just so you can see by comparison. And then I'll hop out into live, and we'll open an augmented tab here, and I'm going to choose fixtures 1 and 2 at full. And in live, I'm just going to take those fixtures here, and you can see those, and then all the 3 and 4 at full. And let's make this a fair comparison. Let's do this. Hard to do on a single screen without an interface here, or encoders, but we'll zoom those out so they're roughly the same size. We'll pull focus on those. And close, but not exactly the same. We'll go ahead and just tune that up just a little bit here. Okay. And then they are different color temperatures, so I'm just going to match those up here too. And we'll just use our standard colors, and those are at 3000 Kelvin. And so they look relatively the same level of brightness because they're both basing off of a 10,000 Kelvin. However, as we know, both in real life and by the data sheets, if we go here into patch, I'm going to grab fixtures 3 and 4 and set that up to the correct lumens output. And then now in live, back in augmented, you can see that the Halcyons are significantly brighter, which is exactly what you would expect to see in real life, which is much brighter fixtures. And so now on stage, this is typically not what I might really have, but if I take those and actually do some sort of a backlight, and then again going back into setting these back to their standard lumens, which is what we had in augmented, all the way between version 3 to 3.2 was that they all just had a default Lumens output. When we're in live here, we can see that that backlight just is not, it doesn't pop at all. And so when we've got this, the front light almost seems to perhaps overpower that, or rather that it doesn't actually seem to be this bright in real life. And the reason is that they're not having that relative brightness that is now available. So now when I set this back to where it should be, and now when we're looking at it, you can see just how much that blue is blowing everything out. In reality, we're probably not that bright. So let me also set those. What was I thinking here? The reality is here is I might only have those at that brightness 50%, and that gives me the amount of backlight I need for the position and for what we're doing here. And it looks like it may not actually be bright enough, or this might be the actual, this is what the look I'm going for in the room. But when we remove that Lumens modifier and set that back to default, we go back into live and take a look at it, you barely can see any backlight at all. And so this new feature allows us to adjust that so that the fixtures actually look as bright in real life, or rather they are represented and augmented the way you are seeing them in real life. This was a quick little video. I hope that was helpful for you.